Morning, traders. This is Brad Matheny. Today is the 15th of January. Ripping through January fairly quickly. We're looking at a fairly strong open. It's 584.25 pre-market. That's a little bit higher than the close, it looks like here. 584.25, little higher than the close yesterday. His previous close was 582. 582. Let's see. Close 582.19. So it's going to open up at 584. A little bit higher. 30.36%. We have banking news this morning. BlackRock, JP Morgan, I believe others are reporting. We could have a pretty strong day to the upside today. And remember, we were talking just yesterday about how the cycle patterns are suggesting an inside breakaway today, moving into a momentum rally tomorrow, and then a gap up higher on the 17th. We are kind of looking at a topping pattern around the 20th, 21st, rolling into what I think is going to be a pretty strong crush pattern around the 24th. So, looking kind of like a good solid move here to the upside. Let me get rid of this from earlier. And it looks like even though we had this weakening trend last week, it looks like we're kind of moving up into this channel. So we have this dual flagging mode. I will suggest that, the flag move here may end up being kind of a zone for a top coming up. So 597, 598, maybe kind of up in this area across these two apexes, zoning out over here, maybe a pretty good topping area for the market moving forward. But again, we've got this, kind of a channeling mode coming down like this. And kind of like this off of these lows. Grab it up here. So, moving into this channeling downward, we could very easily expect a broader extension of this move, meaning once we get up here into this uh 594, 593 area, 593 and a half to 595, roughly right in this area, kind of in between these areas right here. I would say that we need to start being cautious just simply because we're above this channel. We've been channeling downward like this for a while. And it looks like this could run into some real resistance right over here. So we're 584 roughly. That's another 10 points, 10, 11 points higher. I would say that these areas become pretty strong resistance right over here, giving us a real pause. Now, if we were to break above it, that would be a pretty good sign that we could continue to move higher into a major topping pattern. We'll have to see how it plays out. Not holding my breath on that one. Now, again, we've rolled into this big, broad excess phase peak pattern. So let me get rid of this and this and this, and kind of just show you here that we've moved into this big, broad excess phase peak pattern, rolling all the way up, rolling back down into this consolidation. And now I would be interested to see if we get any type of a extension up into this flagging formation. I mean, I could argue this is flagging or argue this is flagging, and we just had our breakdown. But, this new low to me indicates that we're just kind of moving into that broad flagging formation yet. So we could see this flagging continue to move up in a channel like this. uh, it could happen, and it could set up a very big, broad excess phase peak pattern as we move forward. And that would continue to support this level as kind of a flag low, maybe moving down into this area now that we've established this low, and kind of pushing into the buy zone area here that I had drawn, rolling up into an upward channel. So we could see that happen. Although, as I mentioned to you, the big concern that I have moving into this next phase is this zone here, this V bottom setting up around the 9th of February, and the major bottom setting up on the 10th. So now when we come back over there and take a look at the actual 9th and the 10th, that's right over in this area where I've drawn this, actually a little over here. You can see I've drawn this deep V pattern. So somewhere over in this area, 9th and or 10th, we're looking at a deep V potential bottom here. And it looks rather interesting the way this could set up, because, the deep V, depending on how this moves, the deep V looks kind of like this. I mean, this is kind of a deep V low here. This is kind of a deep V island low here. It's probably related to some type of disruption, and it could occur up in this area. It could occur, over in this area. It could occur really as a isolated breakdown event somewhere up into this channel. If we don't break below this low here, then we have a pretty good chance that we're going to see that deep V somewhere between, 578 and maybe, 602. It could just be a quick little isolated bouncing low, literally down, 2 or 3% in a day, or 3.5% in a day or two, and then back up 3.5, 4% off of that deep low bottom. So remember, we're looking kind of at that basing pattern here into a major bottom on the 21st, and then we get another major bottom back here on March 21st. So we're basically looking at a series of bottoms setting up. And you notice we run out of tops. We get a peak on the 10th here, and then we get a peak over here on the 23rd in between these bottoms. So a lot of volatility here. So when we come back over here and take a look at the 15th, we're moving into a rally phase. That means the QQQ should move into a moderate rally phase as well. Pre-market, it is 506, a little higher. Remember, we're looking at an inside day, an inside breakaway in trending mode. And like I said, I think we're kind of washing out of this low here. So remember that apex zone, I'm going to drag it over. That apex zone could become a target right over here for any type of a rally that may set up. And we would be looking for potentially a fairly solid move from these lows here back up into this kind of a apex zone, possibly moving up to 520, 522, 523 in this channel. Now we still have the same channeling mechanism. So we come back off of this area, across these highs, and then copy it down, setting up these lows. We still have that downward channeling, and we're still kind of struggling to get off of this base bottom. Now, I expected these highs, but they're not going to happen yet. So get rid of these for now. Ultimately, we could have that type of move, but we're moving more into a consolidated, flagging downward channel, which is again potentially setting up that same type of excess phase peak pattern if it happens, moving out like this. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how this base is setting up. I mean, obviously, this rally off of this low does set up a low level that we have to be cautious of. Right now, we're bouncing off of it. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And again, interesting to see how, this mode back here sets up around the 18th on a peak, moving into our bottom around the 9th and 10th of February. So when we take a look at this from a broader perspective, I'm going to come over here, 9th or 10th, make sure I highlight the 9th, 10th right there. There's our bottom setup. Okay, so in reality, here's our top setup here, and here's our bottom. So, in reality, we're kind of looking like this is going to maybe be our move, followed by a V bottom, maybe something like this. Maybe. So, trying to give you a hint. Now, could also be that we see this rally and it rolls sideways, and then we get a deep V coming back out of this and rolling back up. So, understand that that deep V setup around the February 9th and 10th puts us kind of right in this area. Okay. As some sort of an anomaly event setting up. A deep V low is very opportunistic for those who know how to trade it. Okay, so let's go take a look at gold and silver. Last I looked, gold and silver were moving higher. Yep. So let's come back over here and go to gold and silver. We're looking at a breakaway and bullish trending with explosive mode that would put us in a fairly solid breakaway type of trend. Looks like we moved strongly out of the yesterday's activity into today's rally phase. You can see this big rally to the upside. Again, probably targeting this 2720 area. I keep talking about this 2720, 2740 area. It's a pretty important area because it's a massive resistance area, support and resistance area, and it looks like we're going to see gold try to rally to that level again and really make a move, getting rid of some of these lines. Silver should be doing similarly. Silver is open at 30.67, making a little breakout move. I'm kind of looking for silver to try to make a move back up into this 31.20, 31.50 area. And I'm looking for gold to make the move back up into this 27.20 area. Is today going to be the day? I don't know. I mean, we get into that rally phase tomorrow. It could be, well, this is a counter trend rally, but we could move into a nice little breakaway phase to the upside, depending on what the dollar does. The dollar was, let me check real quick, 109.19, down a little bit yesterday. We need to see the dollar weaken a little bit to see gold strengthen to the upside, but gold holding up above, 2680, 2690 is a pretty good base bottom, in my opinion. Remember, it wasn't so long ago that gold was trading 14, 15, $1,600 an ounce. In fact, I remember talking to people back when gold was 17, $1,800 an ounce and telling them how big of an opportunity they had until, we saw that $1,000 move up 30, more than 33% to the upside. Now I think we're just basing into that early expansion phase, and that's going to be an incredible move. I mean, before you know it, I'm going to remember talking to you guys about 2720 when gold is up at 3,900 or 4,500, and I'm going to be going, wow, we were talking about under 3,000 for a while. Now we're talking about 5,000 being a target. Ultimately, I see gold and silver really rallying. So you just need to play these rotations And the breakaway phase is going to come as metals hedge risk, global risks. So at this point, we're looking pretty good to the upside. I do like this expansion. It shows very clear expansion with very strong volume. You can see it down here. Pretty strong volume to the upside. Silver's a little bit weaker. Silver needs to see kind of a good breakaway. I mean, I'll be honest with you. In order for silver to make a big move, you kind of need to see a big breakaway and then a follow through. And then I think silver would be off to the races. Gold, in the meantime, like I said, this 2720 area, let me come over here to 4 hour. Same thing here. This 2720 area in gold is really acting like a major kind of, I hate to say it, but a major pain in the ass kind of resistance area. It's gold continues to struggle to get above that 2720 area. And meanwhile, silver, while it is still struggling, okay, it is trying to get back above this middle support channel at 3150 to 3200. Sorry, 3150 to 32. And I believe once we get above this level, you can see it here. I've highlighted it in green. This area here and this area back over here. Let's see if I can get rid of some of these middle. So anyway, once we get above this area, 3150 to 32, I think we're off to the races. I really do. I think we're really going to take off strongly to the upside. And it's going to be a beautiful rally phase. So you can see the apexes that I've drawn here. These are acting as critical support moving across here. We have this other apexing setup right over here, which again acts as support and resistance. We're clearly above those levels. We're moving into a channel. I should point this out. Got a fairly clear channel across these lows. You can see it right across here and across these highs. So we're moving up into that channel, which is going to be similar to this area here. You can see the apexing area we have right here. I'll come back over here, draw the apexing area. And we got to get above that level to see some real strength. Okay. So I'm going to drag this out. And we need to, again, pay attention to the channeling. We are getting some initial channeling moving higher across this area and across roughly this area. We can pick these highs. So there's our channeling up in silver. Okay. Very likely until this breaks, this channel breaks, we're going to stay somewhere in this mode. And we may run into some resistance around 31, which, we're close right now, 30.71 right now. We could run into some resistance right around 31, or we could just blow right through it, kind of like we did here. We blew through this resistance zone here at 26.45, rallied up, stalled, retested right here again on a little bit weaker volume, and then rallied right back out of it. Same kind of scenario here. If you look at this, we rallied up above 2720, stalled back down into the channel lows, just like we did back here. Now we're building our base back out. We will likely rally back up to these levels, kind of like this, rallying back up to these levels, stall out just a bit, and then break. So pretty good little move here setting up. And might be a great breakout move here setting up for metals, pushing all the way back up here to 3170, 3160, 3180 for silver, and pushing all the way up to 2730, 2720 for gold. Just a really good setup to the upside right now, in my opinion. Okay, lastly, we're going to come back over here. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin. up $757. Really rejected off of this low. I think I talked about it yesterday. I kind of drew this here. Let me try it again. And really just explain to you that, until we are moving off of this low right here becomes a fairly critical low. We've retested it a dozen times, not a dozen, but at least three or four. And what we have right here is, the peaking pattern, the initial, what I called flagging, daily flagging moving here, the secondary flagging, the alignment of the flagging right here. See if I've drawn, yeah, multiple circles. Okay, so whatever. This is the alignment between this flag and this flag that set up this big rotation downward. We came down here, we bounced off this low, a bit of rejection. We ran over here, and then on this day, Monday, it looked like we had a very clear breakdown early in the morning, and it rejected on fairly strong volume. Obviously, there's a lot of buyers down here below 92,000. And I think that they're struggling right now with the markets struggling to, really drive price back up here. You can see we've got these lower highs moving down, and this is a pretty important cycle. If we get another lower high here, we could move into a downward channel. Secondarily, we have this channeling high right over here, which is acting as a continued level of resistance. So, get rid of some of these and just realize that, we're moving kind of into this channeling formation here. We can see it, we can argue about it. But, the real reality here is that we're probably going to flag into this area 98, 99,000 throughout the end of January. And what's interesting here is this flagging formation sets up right around early February as a potential apexing mode. So it would make sense to me that we may struggle in this area or potentially into this area, into that apexing zone, trying to run off of this channel here. Remember, this is our upper channel. Let me come back here and show you on an intraday, not intraday, but so hypothetically, this channel here becomes very critical in my opinion. I'm going to double line it like this and just basically say that I think we channel in this mode. We've got this deep rejection here. I think we channel in this mode, kind of like this, into volatility before attempting to make a move. It could be up or down. My assumption is it will be down off of that deep low, but I think we're moving into this channeling formation. And I think we're going to be basically just rolling around this channel before we decide to make any type of a big breakout. Okay. So the idea that you're going to have this rotation, possibly between $3,000-4,000 rotation, channeling into this cycle, given what I see here, it makes sense to me that we're going to run out here into this apexing zone, pretty much right over here, and then attempt to break out from that level. So, what I see here is price struggling to get out of the way. I think it's going to come possibly after Trump is inaugurated and he's able to put together some laws, potentially some new action for crypto and Bitcoin. But again, I think there could be some, potential unwinding event. I still think that after this big move in Bitcoin, this big rally from the election. Really, here's the election, and we go all the way back down to this area. To be honest with you guys, 50% level, roughly this area here, would not be out of the question as a pullback. So, that 82,000 area, potentially down to the 72,000 area, would not be out of the question. And that 72,000 area, you can see, really comes from this level back here being critical. So be aware, like I said, this level here and this level here, I'll draw it for real, which is roughly 50%. I'm doing it by eye. So here's our low prior to the election. Here's our high after the election. Where's the 50%? Doing it by eye here. Let's see how close I get. Probably right in here. And so we'll just do a quick little Fibonacci. Look at that. Pretty much right on. Pretty much right on. So again, that's where I think that we're going to potentially be trying to pull back to. I know it sucks for Bitcoin people, but logically, we've gotten into this flagging, this stalling formation. If we do fail to rally back up out of this, then more than likely we're going to see some sort of a move rolling back down to this 50% level, consolidating into the excess phase peak pattern. And that 50% level is just really just a quick target based on Fibonacci. So it's a pretty clear level to me. In fact, I highlighted it back over here, 8250. And that really is about this level here. So uh, puts us into this lower zone. And so we'll see how it plays out. Okay. Right now, we're looking pretty good for the markets, though. Let's go back to the SPY. Remember, we have pretty strong banking. So we're up 590 on the SPY. Big move. Something happened. Spreading this out. I know that real estate came in fairly strong. Yeah, 590. We're up 1.5% pre-market. Nice big move to the upside, which is again almost coming right up into my apexing area here. We're more than halfway there. Big solid move to the upside. Love it. Going to be a gap open, looks like. And more than likely, it was off of some. I know the real estate data, mortgage data came in strong. And I think that's in preparation for, like I said, the Fed. But we'll see how things go. Okay, this is going to be a nice little recovery, and as I mentioned to you, this is the rally that I'd been expecting way back over here. We had to get through this debt credit mode. This was really a washout move on that debt credit uh, yields crisis that was playing out. But it looks like the yields crisis is mellowing. The dollar move is mellowing. It looks like we're moving beyond that into a nice solid rally phase. And like I said, we move into fairly strong earnings data over here. You can see we've got the mortgage indexes are up strong. We're moving into CPR. CPI this morning could get very strong, blowing out some numbers. But look at this mortgage data. Mortgage applications, 33% week over week compared to -3. Wow, that's a big number. Mortgage purchase index, 127, 162 to 127. Huge. U.S. mortgage index, 224 to 168. Hello, that's a 60-point increase. Now, granted, these might be revised, but big numbers. And here we go. We just got CPI coming in a little lower. CPI year over year, 3.2 to 3.3, 323. So consumer pricing index weakening slightly. still should be positive for the markets. And we're still up 1.4. We'll see how this plays out. Going to be a good, strong opening, it looks like. Let's see if we get a big move. Now, remember, on big moves like this, if we open strongly up here to the upside, okay, after a big gap, which is kind of where we're at right now, don't be too surprised to see the market sell back off a bit before attempting to move back out of this move. So intraday, when you get a big gap like this off of news, you can either get, a continued runner kind of to the upside, or, ladies and gentlemen, you can end up getting a good solid pullback. So if you've got profits early in the morning, book them and wait to see what happens. Book a few of them and make sure that you wait to see what happens. I'm going to go check gold and silver real quick, see if we've got any moves. That's 4 hour. Nothing yet. I thought by chance with this economic data coming in, we'd see some kind of a move over here in gold and silver, but obviously just taking its time right now. So we'll see. Gold and silver could make a very big move here off of this data. Again, without any pressure, if the dollar weakens, we could be looking at a fairly easy move up into the 2,800 area for gold and up into the 3,150, 3,180 area for silver. There it goes. Poppity pop pop. So let's see what happens here. Silver's pushing a little higher. You can see gold just had a nice pop. So let's just see how this plays out, guys. Could be a very interesting day. Okay, remember, get some and stay safe. Talk to you later.